Luma and the Valley of Forgotten Echoes. The dream realm was quiet again, its meadows and forests silvered by the glow of an endless moon. Far above, constellations shifted slowly, their patient light spreading across the horizon. The night air carried scents of pine and distant rain, and all creatures had settled into calm. It was the kind of night where silence stretched wide, yet beneath it, something stirred, something faint and waiting. Luma, the fox with fur brushed by starlight and eyes that carried constellations, felt the stirring before she heard it. In her den beneath the great star tree, she lifted her head, ears twitching, her gaze drawn toward the horizon where the mountains leaned against the sky. The air shimmered faintly, as though carrying not one silence but many layered together. Some were thin and trembling, others deep and heavy. Luma recognized it, the pull of the Valley of Forgotten Echoes. She rose from her resting place. The jars of laughter and lanterns of fireflies around her glowed faintly, as though bidding her farewell. With steady paws, she stepped into the meadow, leaving behind silver sparks in the dew. The world seemed to open to her, widening into paths that only she could see. Her journey took her through shadowed forests, where each tree bent slightly as she passed, whispering in leaves that barely stirred. She followed a trail of quiet, and almost sound, the absence of noise so concentrated it seemed to guide her forward. The ground sloped downward, leading her past streams that refused to gurgle and winds that held their breath. As she walked, the silence thickened, not heavy with dread but dense with waiting. It reminded her of the hush before snow falls, or the stillness that lingers in the breath between two notes of a song. In that silence, she could feel the unspoken weight of voices never released. Every step carried her deeper into the heart of the quiet. Finally, after long, dreamlike hours, she reached it, the valley. The Valley of Forgotten Echoes stretched wide and hollow, its floor shimmering faintly not with water but with waves of sound made visible. Thin ripples glowed and faded, carrying whispers, sighs, and fragments of song. Echoes drifted like translucent ribbons, rising from the earth before dissolving into mist. They seemed almost alive, curling and reaching, drawn to her presence. Luma stepped gently onto the valley floor. Immediately, the air shifted. Whispers brushed past her ears, soft, fragile threads of voices once spoken, long forgotten. Some carried laughter, light and fleeting. Others carried sorrow, heavy as rain. Still others were fragments of song, broken mid-phrase, lingering with longing. Each echo had once belonged to someone awake, yet had drifted here when left behind. Her task was clear. She was not here to claim them, but to guide them onward, to free what lingered too long. She walked slowly, tail sweeping faint arcs of silver light behind her. A child's voice rose faint as a sigh, "Don't forget me." It shimmered like glass, trembling with fragility. Luma bent her head, brushing it gently with her nose. The echo pulsed, then dissolved into light that drifted upward, vanishing into the sky. She continued. Another echo floated near, deep and low, the soft murmur of two voices sharing secrets beneath the stars. The words had blurred, but the warmth remained. Luma paused, listening, allowing the moment its full presence. Then she exhaled softly, and the echo unraveled into silver dust, scattering into the air. Everywhere she walked, more echoes stirred. Some clung to the ground, curled tightly as though afraid to leave. Others floated high, drifting aimlessly. She moved calmly through them, touching one, pausing for another, offering only presence, only patience. Each time, the valley grew lighter, softer, its burden eased. But not all echoes were gentle. As she reached the heart of the valley, the air grew heavy. A great echo loomed, thick, restless, rolling across the ground like thunder. It was a cry, sharp with grief, a voice calling out into silence, unanswered. It had circled the valley so long it had become a storm. The ground trembled faintly as it passed. Luma stood her ground. She closed her eyes, breathing slow, steady. When the storm rolled near, she did not retreat. Instead, she lifted her head and released a single sound of her own, a low hum, calm and steady. Her hum wove itself around the storm, not overpowering but embracing. Slowly, the thunder cracked and faltered. The echo wavered, then split apart into threads of light that drifted gently upward, free at last. Silence followed. True silence, the kind that soothed instead of weighed heavy. Yet the valley was not empty. In its center lay something unlike the others, a great pool, shimmering with sound and light interwoven. This was the source, the place where all echoes came to rest before fading. The pool shifted constantly, sometimes rippling like water, sometimes shimmering like mist, sometimes trembling like air after a bell's ring. Luma approached carefully. As she gazed into its depths, she saw fragments of countless voices, unspoken thoughts, half-sung songs, cries swallowed by distance. They pulsed together, waiting. From the pool rose one echo brighter than all, not sorrowful, not fearful, but simply unfinished. It was a melody. The notes rose softly, hesitant, incomplete. It lingered, reaching for resolution but never finding it. Without it, the pool could not fully empty, and the valley could not fully rest. Luma listened. She let the melody wind around her, let it rest in her chest. She knew what it asked, not to be ended, but to be carried forward. So she opened her mouth and sang. Her voice was not loud, not sharp. It was soft, threaded with the quiet of the meadow, the patience of the river, the steadiness of the stars. She carried the melody forward, completing it gently, letting it resolve into stillness. The pool responded, glowing brighter. The echoes within it rippled, then began to rise, thousands of voices drifting upward together, shimmering like starlight lifted by unseen winds. The valley shivered, then exhaled. The ground softened. The mist lightened. The silence that followed was not empty but full, as if the world itself was resting deeper. Luma lingered at the pool's edge. The surface had grown smooth, yet faint ripples still circled outward where her song had touched it. She lay beside it, watching the last sparks of sound fade into the sky. Here, silence was no longer absence but presence, warm, holding, infinite. It lulled her into stillness, her body melting into the soft earth. For a time beyond measure, she rested. Stars drifted across the heavens, mirrored faintly in the smooth surface of the pool. Her breathing slowed, blending with the quiet rhythm around her. At moments, she almost felt herself dissolving too, her own presence an echo ready to be carried upward. Yet the valley held her gently, reminding her that her path was not to vanish, but to continue guiding. When at last she rose, the valley was lighter. Its edges shimmered with faint silver mist, like breath released after long holding. The pool no longer trembled, but lay serene, a mirror of sky. She knew it would wait again until voices gathered, but for now, peace stretched unbroken. She turned back toward the path. The forest awaited, branches swaying with soft sighs of relief. The air grew warmer as she climbed, carrying scents of clover and pine. Fireflies emerged from the shadows, drifting beside her like sparks of laughter freed from silence. Each step felt lighter, the ground itself easing beneath her paws. When she reached the meadow near the star tree, dawn had not yet come. The sky was dark, but the stars glowed brighter than before, as though reflecting the countless echoes she had freed. A new harmony lingered in the night air, subtle, woven into silence itself, like the faint memory of a song that needed no words. The jars of laughter in her den glowed as she entered, brighter than before, and the lanterns of fireflies swirled lazily, casting patterns of gentle light across the walls. Luma curled into her resting place, her body soft, her eyes heavy. She carried the valley's stillness within her, the quiet hum of voices now at peace. She closed her eyes, her breath steady, her tail curled warmly around her. The dream realm hushed in response, as though settling into sleep with her. Above, the stars continued their patient glow. If one listened closely, they seemed almost to hum, the faint song of countless echoes carried upward, now resting among the constellations. And as the night deepened, silence spread across the dream realm once more. Not an empty silence, but one rich and full, carrying all who slept into dreams without burden, into rest without end.